many Champions League. We have just one, so win it was, of course, special. But if I analyze the game, it was so tight because I said in the days before the final, remember how tough is the opponent. Now the people believe me more because the people need to see really how strong they are. And but it's not a final now. It's a game at home. We are not going to go to Milan. It's completely different. And with our people, try to, our games at home to try to do it.
How much inspiration, perhaps, will your players draw from that wonderful night tomorrow?
Sorry?
How much inspiration will your players draw from that night when they play into tomorrow?
So I think they have to know what you have to do. They have to adjust something because for the way they attack is so difficult to control. And in that moment, about the inspiration, about the emotions, I think I'm so cold on that. It's the first game of the group stage for the 8 games, and after what happened in the future. So we just, tactically be present. What do you have to do?
Sam, please.
Hi, Pep. I wanted to ask about Kevin De Bruyne, because obviously he had the difficult injury last season, and then he came back. A lot of assists, some games really good, some games not so good. But it seems like this season he started it as good as ever. How does he seem? How does he feel around the training pitch in games?
Yeah, I agree. But it's the same with Erling in all the comments after the game. So I said the season will start now, and there are lots of games. Of course, start really well, come back good, help us especially in the Premier League games, in in the competitions that we had. But I will see. So every 3-4 games, so cannot sustain in any player every week. And but yeah, I'm happy his mood is good and he's playing at a good level.
And in terms of Phil Foden, when he's back available for selection, should we expect him to be playing more in the central areas now, like at the end of last season, or could he still be used on the wing?
Yeah, we have Gundo now back and have other players, but yeah, his position, it's better, is there. But when everybody's fit, the contention is tough, and they have to compete, for themselves, perform well. I want to rotate, but they have to prove when I rotate they are ready to play. When they don't perform well, I rotate less. So the business here is win the next game, and not because I'm going to give presents for this player or the other one. I wanted everybody involved because it's the best way to avoid the injuries, to be fresh and mentally, physicality, but they have to perform.
Hi, Pep. Erling has 99 goals in 103 games for City. If he scores tomorrow, he'll beat Cristiano Ronaldo to be the fastest player to get to 100. I think Ronaldo got 100 goals in 105 for Real Madrid. What do those numbers say about Erling? And how much better can he get? Akanji was talking at the weekend about him becoming an all-round player, involved in the game a lot more. But can you just talk about those kind of numbers? Because you've said in the past that those are kind of Messi and Ronaldo numbers.
Well, can evolve, but if you tell me in the next 100 games I score another 99 goals, for me it's fine. So if you want to improve, don't improve. Score next 100 games 99 goals, I will be more than delighted. And City and all the organization for Man City as well. And I think for him as well. So, but I think the experience playing game, they will improve. So it's difficult to improve when you don't play. So as much games he's going to play in this club, he will be a better player for a natural way, not because we say something special or he practiced something special, in a natural way.
Are those numbers surprised you, though? Because you knew you were getting a goal scorer, a guy that was a great finisher, but had those numbers even surprised you?
A little bit, yeah. Do you know why? I played 11 years as a professional, as a football player. I was a football player in the past, I scored 11 goals. This guy in 4 goals scored 9. So have one more game, equalize me. So imagine if you surprise me.
And just on the improvement, Pep, in him, do you sense there is that hunger and thirst in him to improve? He's a player who just isn't satisfied.
The difference of last season, he feels his body his niggles and he's tired and it feels better. I think the difference between this season and the previous one, or especially in the first season, they make incredible numbers, the year of the treble. Like he came from Dortmund with a lot of problems muscular in the first month, they struggled a little bit with that. So far he feels, I'm clean, I feel good here and no problems. But what I said before with Kevin answer, so every 3-4 days, game. I don't know in 1 or 2 or 3 months time. So I don't expect so every single game I score 3 or 2 goals. So I don't expect that. At the moment that is going to happen, it's not a problem because I know the quality is there. But I think the difference to last season is what I said. Feels good, no problems. And when a player had, not just him, all the players had that feeling, he can perform his best.
Is that a bit worrying for opponents that he's still being able to hit those numbers, even though he's had injuries, missed 2 months last season, he's had niggles and problems to get with, and he's still got to that?
The opponents will find a solution to control these numbers of goals, and we have to find the resolution to beat them, to find a way. But of course they are going to find, and after when this happens, it's because there will be more players over him, and I have to create an environment around him to another player score goals. So, but hopefully he can continue his mindset positive, and he can continue help us.
One more in English, guys, then we'll take some Italian. Paul?
Hi, Pep. You've studied Inter's games, obviously, a lot this season. What in particular makes you think that they're such a dangerous team for you to face tomorrow?
Inter?
Yeah.
First, is the historical team, the incredible mentality. They are built to win every single game. They are created to win the competitions. Last year's won a lot, and that means the mindset of the players that I'm able to do it is quite similar to us. And they have a good high pressing, almost man-to-man, similar Brentford. And after they defend with the typical mentality in Italy that they have to suffer, I don't know how many, as much minutes they are not a problem. Strong team in set pieces, good incredible qualities in the build-ups with Bastoni, Canaloglu, Acerbi, Pavard, and after good guys coming for the second line, especially Barella, Mkhitaryan as well, but especially Barella. I don't know if Di Marco will be fit, but every time crosses arrive with 4 or 5 players in the box. Yeah, complete team. You cannot win the Italian league or being in the positions in 2 years ago with the same manager, 90% of the players, the same ones, final Champions League if you don't have something, special.
In Italian, please.
Buongiorno Pep, ben trovato. Hai detto che hai rivisto la finale.
You watched the final for the first time only yesterday. So do you expect the same Inter being aggressive, pressing you hard? Inter, I think, from that point of view, got very close to you in terms of the level of play, level of performance.
Io non mi aspettavo prima la finale perché sarebbe una gara che noi possiamo pensare che eravamo molto più forti di loro.
I mean, we couldn't afford to think that we were much better than them at the time. The media said that we were much superior to them. I didn't think that we were. I couldn't possibly afford to think that. You can't. Nor could they go into the final and say, well, we're the weakest. And Italians are very good at that kind of thing. I knew that they were strong 2 years ago. I know they were strong tomorrow. I have a huge amount of respect for them, for what they've been doing for years and years now. And it'll be a different game, of course, because Champions League final is completely different from any other game, I guess, really. This is kind of like the group stage. But we'll see. We'll see if we can impose our game and play a good game.
Buongiorno.
Hi, hello.
Volevo chiederle una cosa su
I
Lautaro
wanted
Martinez.
to ask you something about Lautaro Martinez, because when you played against him in the Champions League, he was already a top player. He was kind of like represented the symbol of Inter. In the meantime, he's become the captain, top scorer, won the league as captain, top scorer, has won the South American Cup as well. Do you think he's someone who's up there as a candidate to win the Ballon d'Or? European Player of the Year?
Sì, lo può, come no?
Yeah, why not? Why not? But
mi auguro lo vinca un giocatore della nostra
I'd
squadra.
rather a player from our team win that particular accolade, the Ballon d'Or, but there are other players as well in contention. He's a sensational player, and he's a captain, he's an attacker, he's won the World Cup with Argentina, the South American Cup for Argentina. To do all of that, you have to be special. You have to be special, otherwise you can't do that kind of thing. But Inter has a lot of good players, don't get a lot of good players.
Ciao Pep.
Hello, Pep.
Ci eravamo lasciati dopo la finale,
After the final, you said Inter was a strong team, you like the team, you like the way in which they play. That's what you said at the end of the Champions League final. Now, do you think it's a team that can compete once again at the highest possible level and possibly win the Champions League? Because a lot of people say that Inter has improved massively since the Champions League. Do you still think, so the one that said it out rather, do you still think they can win the Champions League? A contender? Yes, absolutely.
Just the last one there, please. There you are there. Thank you.
L'ultima domanda.
Buongiorno. Rispetto a quella
Okay.
finale, però, Inter ha un
Compared
centravanti
to that
diverso.
final, Inter now
A
has a
Istanbul
different
c'erano Dzeko,
centre forward. In Istanbul they had
c'è
Dzeko
Thuram
and
che ha
Lukaku.
caratteristiche
Now they have Thuram, who's a different player, different characteristics. What sort of player do you think Thuram is? Do you like Thuram as a player? And how does Inter change, and to what extent is it different? He exploits spaces and perhaps a little bit more than Dzeko and Lukaku. He's a very strong player. He's working extremely well with Lautaro. And he can attack the channels, he can go beyond the defence. Perhaps Dzeko, given his advanced age, wasn't able to do it. And I think he and Lautaro complement one another in their movements. They move really well, they've got good movement then. And I think it was a good buy for Inter, no doubt.
Thank you.
Grazie a tutti. Yeah. He played in Italy for quite a long time, in Brescia. Yeah, he played in Brescia.
Hello guys, same process again. Questions in English first please, and then from Italian media after that. We'll start with Simon again.
Hi, Rodri, hope you're okay. Just on a personal level, it's only kind of a matter of months since you won the Euros with Spain, a year after winning the Champions League with Man City scoring the winning goal. You've been nominated for Ballon d'Or, but you are regarded as one of the favourites. You're not a striker in the way that most of the winners are. What does that make you feel about how you've played, and do you hope to win, I suppose?
Well, to be honest, very, very happy for everything that happened to me the last years. I mean, winning what we win and in the last summer Euros with my country is just a dream. And yeah, it's the consequences of the work hard and the consistency and never give up, and this kind of thing. So I always said that individual awards is just the consequences of the work. I really feel right now that the people is recognizing my work and and trying to push me to win it or whatever. It's not something I think, to be honest. It will be a dream, of course, because I never thought I could arrive to this stage, to this moment. But in the other hand, I mean, once you arrive here, you just want to, people say what they think, vote, and that's it. I would have said whatever it is. And as you said, the things of the position, I know I play a different role than the most players that are nominated in these trophies, I know, but it's also show that the football can be beautiful in different views, You can be beautiful playing as a midfielder or scoring goals or being a defender, We all know how football works. But I think there's lots of people that really appreciate the role of a midfielder, so let's see what happens.
Hiya, Rodri. There's been quite a lot of talk about the amount of games that players are playing at the moment with the expanded Champions League. Obviously, you've got the Club World Cup next summer. In your mind, because you've been quite outspoken about it as well, in your mind, how many games a season do you think is an optimum level for an elite player to play?
Honestly, I don't know the exact number. I think from my experience, I can tell you that 60, 70, no. Obviously, I think between 40 and 50 is the amount of games in which a player can perform in the highest level. After that, everything comes, you drop, because it's impossible to sustain the physical level. And I think this years we're gonna go until 70, maybe 80. I don't know. Depends on how far you go into competitions. In my humble opinion, I think it's too much. I think we have to take care of ourselves. Someone has to take care of ourselves, because we are the main characters of this, let's say, sport or business, whatever you want to call it. I think not everything is money or marketing. It's also the quality of the show. In my opinion, when I'm when I'm not tired, I perform better. And if the people want to see a better football, we need to rest. Just something to put in there, but that's what I think.
And just on the quality of games, I think Erling Haaland said in the summer that he didn't think the European Championship, some of the games there, were of the same quality as he'd seen previously. Do you think that is sort of true of every competition at the moment, that the quality of football is probably not as high as we've seen?
Yeah, I mean, I think in the beginning of the season, yes, but now because you end a season very, very close to another one, maybe you start not in the best shape as possible. So I agree with you. When the amount of games start getting bigger, the performing and the quality of the games are lower. So let's see what football goes. In my opinion, I would prefer to have less and better quality, better show for the people.
Rodri, good to see you. How do you assess City's mental strength at the moment? Because to do what they've done in recent seasons requires a lot of factors, but the mental side of things seems to be a big factor. How would you assess the mental strength of your teammates at the moment?
Yeah, I agree because there's a lot of tiredness, there's a lot of, as we said, long seasons, and you have to start again. So most of these situations you kind of cover with a mental strength, trying to be strong, trying to get the machine again rolling by winning or by performing well. I think the start of the season was great for us because the early you got into this, into this run, the easiest to continue in the season. So, I think that's the key, trying to be as fit as possible and try to make as you say, the focus and the mental health be strong in this moment and followed by the season.
Keep it to one each, guys, so we can get through as many as we can. Martin?
Hi, Rodri. Pep said just now, he said he's only just watched the final against Inter for the first time yesterday. Just wondered how many times you've watched it, and in particular your goal.
Well, the full game, maybe 1, 2. Small clips like thousands, to be honest. But yeah, I think we were watching the game yesterday, analysing them because they haven't changed much in the way they play. And yeah, it was great to see us back. He told us that he was the first time he watched the game. So yeah, I mean, this is football. I mean, it was a great time, but now life goes on and we have other challenges or goals in our heads. So yeah, we need to go move on and try to start as well as possible this new competition.
Hi Rodri, how much have you appreciated your time off that you've had since the Euros to kind of get a bit of rest? And did you switch off from football, or were you sort of watching City Ipswich on a telly somewhere?
Well, it was great for my legs, great for me. I had like 1 month, and after I need to recover a little bit also. So I think in general terms, like 2 months that have been great for me to stop a little bit and to prepare myself. I think nowadays it's even more important to do these kind of things than not come early and do a pre-season. I think football is changing in that way. But yeah, it helps me a lot to stop. I don't watch much football, of course, when they disconnect. And as your partner was saying, I mean, the mental health in that sense is important to, refresh and move on.
Hey Rodri, just going back to the schedule again. You said a minute ago that someone's got to take care of us, take care of the players. Do you think it will get to a point where, after playing so many games or being asked to play so many games, that the players will say, I don't want to be part of this, and they'll actually end up like going on strike or not refusing to play in such a big kind of calendar?
Yeah, I think we're close to that. I mean, because it's easy to understand. I mean, if we're asking something, and I think it's something general, I think you ask any player, he will say the same. It's not like the opinion of Rodri or whatever. No, I think it's the general opinion of the players. And if it keeps this way, it will be a moment that we have no other option. I really think. But let's see, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's something that worries us because we are the guys that suffer, so yeah.
Hi, Rodri. The latest news is that you've been offered a contract from City. So I was just wondering if you could give us some insights into your thoughts on your future and how you see your career going in the next 2, 3, 4 years.
Nothing much to say. I have, with this, 3 more years at the City, and when I signed the contracts, I don't think on other teams. I just think on finishing. So yeah, I have contract with City. Nothing else I can say.
James, yes.
Rodri, just on the schedule again. The World Players Union have talked a lot about the dangers and the perils of it. The world's top are you as top players now? Is it becoming quite an open topic of conversation among you privately? The schedule and your quiet moments, and how big an issue is it? Like the players in, when you join up with Spain, do you talk about it? And do the players at City talk about it? And do you think at Real Madrid and Barcelona and all the top clubs, players are starting to talk about it and it's becoming a thing for you?
Well, I don't know, because I can only tell you about my club and my national team. But yeah, it's something we're worried. It's something that, of course, it's not the same for all the players, because not all the players play 60 games. Depends on which team you are. Depends if you play more or less. But all of us, we think the same. It's not just about that, because it's also the time you have to break, many things. So, yeah, it's something we're worried, as we said before, and yeah, let's see what it brings us, all these things.
The last one in English with the answer here, please. Thank you.
Hi, Rodri. Hi. Again, on the schedule. So Erling has had a decent start to the season, you could say, and he's talked about how his long summer break has helped to this. Is his start to the season a good example of why you need a good break between the seasons?
Yeah, maybe it's a good example. I mean, he had a long break because, well, his country didn't qualify for the Euro, so long break. And you see how he's performing right now. He's turning again that beast we saw in the early days. And yeah, it gives you a clue that why we ask this. But I don't know. That's my opinion, and that's it.
We'll take some questions in Italian. The headset there for me, Rodri.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go.
Ciao Rodri.
Hi Rodri, a few months ago, Çalhanoğlu talked about the best 5 players in this position. I think he put himself in your position.
No?
I understand you, but... Go ahead.
So a few months ago, Çalhanoğlu drew up a list of the best 5 playmakers in the world. He put himself in the first position and you in second position. Do you agree? And also, who are your top 3 or 5 players in your position in the world?
Well, it's what can I say? I mean, it's his opinion, respected. I'm not here to judge who's the best, who's not the best. I think you guys are more professional to analyze that, or the fans. I just want to be the best version of myself. I think he's a great player. I don't want to say who's the better. I want to be the best. That's why I perform, but I don't want to do a ranking.
Ciao.
Sorry.
Hi, hello. Yeah, I wanted to ask if there's one particular aspect of Inter's play that worries you, having watched the game yesterday, and is there any one particular player that you need to really keep an eye on tomorrow evening? Thank you.
Yeah, English or Spanish? English. Yeah, we watch the game, but I don't need to watch them to know how they play, because many times showing them, I know exactly the players and how they perform, but I don't know. I think they have many key players. I think they defend very well. Their transitions, they're very good. They're a very solid team. They know exactly what to do when they have the ball. For me, that's the most important thing. Of course, they have big starts like Lautaro, or different players, that important players in the midfielder, and well, I don't know, Barella, Çalhanoğlu, many of those. And yeah, I think a very complete team. I don't think they're like big star team. They have a main guy. They have lots of good players. They perform well as a team. They're tough to beat. So I think we will need our best performance to beat them tomorrow. Work collectively as a team. We know that it's gonna be like knocking a wall because we know how Italian teams defend. So we have to do our best offensively.
Last one here, please.
Hi, Rodri. Concerning the midfielders, I mean, from a midfielder point of view, what do you think the Inter midfielder players have particularly have? Do they have something special? I mean, what do you like most of the midfielders? Because our concern is that after the Serie A match, in which Mr. Inzaghi changed a lot in the midfield, tomorrow probably will play Mkhitaryan, Barella, Çalhanoğlu. So there is a lot of concern in this area of the field. Thank you.
Yeah, I think exactly. Well, the same players that I'm playing from the last years, except Brozovic, let's say, that he moved on. Yeah, I know them very well. I know them, how they perform, the quality they have, and the way they defend and attack in that Inter Milan. What can I say? I think they're good, very good players. We have to they are the guys that control the game for them, and also they do something very well is the way they kind of pass from defending to attack in a very high speed and how they control. So yeah, I think we have to watch out. They're strong in that area, but we're also strong too. So yeah, let's see. Good battle tomorrow to watch. Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Yep. Thank you, guys. My goodness.
Good afternoon and welcome to this plenary meeting. Welcome back after the summer recess. Before we move to our first item, I wish to inform the Senedd, in accordance with Standing Order 26.75, that the Elections and Elected Bodies Wales Act 2024 was given royal assent on Monday the 9th of September, and that the Local Government Finance Wales Act 2024 was given royal assent on Monday the 16th of September. Item 1 is next, nominations for committee chairs. I now invite nominations under Standing Order 17.2F for the election of committee chairs. Only a member of the political group that has been allocated that committee may be nominated as chair, and only a member of the same political group may make the nomination. The allocation of chairs to political groups has been agreed in accordance with Standing Order 17.2A and 17.2R. When a party group has more than 20 members, the nomination must be seconded by another member of the same group. If any member objects to a nomination, or if there are 2 nominations or more for the same committee, a secret ballot will be held. So we will move on first of all to invite nominations for chair of the Petitions Committee, which has been allocated to the Labour Group. Are there any nominations for the chair of the Petitions Committee?
Anna Blythen.
Nominate Rhiannon Passmore.
Rhiannon Passmore wedi...
Rhiannon Passmore is nominated. Is there a seconder to that nomination?
Oes wedi...
Yes, that's seconded by Mick Antoniv. Are there any further nominations for the chair of the Petitions Committee?
Carolyn Thomas.
Carolyn Thomas has been nominated by Buffy Williams. Is there a seconder for that nomination?
I'll second it.
Joyce Watson.
Joyce Watson seconds that nomination. Are there any further nominations? No, there are no further nominations. And as we have more than one nomination, there will be a secret ballot held for the chair of the Petitions Committee. Now invite nominations for chair of the Standards Committee. This again has been allocated to the Labour Group. Is there a nomination for chair of the Standards of Conduct Committee?
Nominate Hannah Blythen.
Julie Morgan.
Julie Morgan nominates Hannah Blythen. Is there a seconder for that nomination? Yes. That's been seconded by Leslie Griffiths. Are there any further nominations? There are none. And as there is just one nomination, I will ask if there are any objections to that nomination. Any objections to the nomination of Hannah Blythen as chair of the Standards of Conduct Committee? No. As there is only one nomination which was not objected to, I declare that Hannah Blythen is elected chair of the Standards of Conduct Committee, and I wish her well with that work. As there was more than one nomination for the position of chair of the Petitions Committee, there will now be a ballot held. That will be a secret ballot and will be held in briefing room 13, and members will soon receive an email to inform them that voting will start at 14:15 and will close at 16:15, and we will then count the votes and declare the winner at the end of the afternoon. That's the housekeeping dealt with. We will now move on to questions to the First Minister, and the first question this afternoon is from Buffy Williams.
Diolch, Llywydd. Will the First Minister provide an update on the Young Persons Guarantee?
The Young Persons Guarantee is our offer of support to every young person aged 16 to 24 in Wales to gain a place in education, training or an apprenticeship, or to find a job or to become self-employed. And since its launch, over 38,000 young people have started on the employability and skills programmes.
Delivering real opportunities is essential for our young people. We know in Wales many will follow a traditional path through school and university, but it's clear that education is not a one-size-fits-all. Courses at colleges like College of Cymoedd in my constituency and alternative education projects like the Green Light project run by our City Council through charities like Cambrian Village Trust are vital for supporting students with different needs. With this in mind, could you please outline your plans for expanding alternative education opportunities across Wales in the future, and what role do you see junior apprenticeships playing for those who may not pursue the conventional academic route?
Well, thanks very much, and I absolutely agree that people learn in really different ways and that one size doesn't fit all, which is why it's really important that we do provide those alternative routes. I think what's great about the Young Person's Guarantee is that it can provide that alternative to the traditional mechanism of learning and securing a job. And we know that some will need really tailored and specific support, and that junior apprenticeship scheme that you talked about is one route that people use, and it's aimed at year 10 and 11 learners, and they attend college on a full-time basis. They undertake a 2-year programme, and what's great is it's currently offered by about 5 colleges in Wales, and it helps around 150 learners. Now, Estyn has just done a review of the junior apprenticeship programme, and we're now considering the recommendations that have come through as a result of that. But I think probably this is an opportune moment also for us to congratulate those people who were successful in the World Skills event that happened in Lyon. This is something that Wales does really, really well. We do so well every year. I say we, it's not us. It is those young people who've taken those non-traditional routes but have world-class skills. And one of those is Reuben Duggan from Manmoyle in Blackwood, who won silver in plumbing and heating. I'm sure we all want to send our congratulations to him and to the rest of the people who succeeded so well in those World Skills events.
Gareth Davis.
Through the Young Person's Guarantee, we should be seeing more people in education, employment and training, but we are seeing the opposite, unfortunately. University bosses warned last month that we need to be worried about the number of young people from Wales applying to higher education, which is the lowest in the UK, according to UCAS data. Apprenticeship targets have consistently not been met and have then been revised down to 125,000. This September, according to Colleges Cymru, we are looking at 10,000 fewer people starting apprenticeships due to the Welsh Government's budget cuts, which will significantly impact the Welsh economy too. The rate of people in Wales aged between 19 and 24 not in education, employment or training or NEET is 14.5%, which has slowly crept up by 5.3% over the last 5 years. Whatever the Welsh Government is doing is not working. The Young Person's Guarantee will not help young people procure skills and training if the Welsh Government have slashed the skills and training budget. Denbighshire has the 3rd highest youth unemployment rate in Wales, with West Rhyl accounting for a 1/5 of Denbigshire's total, which is a very depressing figure. So will the Welsh Government reinstate its apprenticeship pledge back to 125,000 and provide the necessary funding to give our young people the start they very deserve?
Well, I don't think I'm going to apologise for our record on apprenticeships. We've done brilliantly, especially when you compare what's happened in England. Yes. And if you look at youth unemployment, which is something I know we're all concerned about, if you don't get young people into work early, the chances are that it affects them for the rest of their lives. So really cracking that is significant and important. And the fact is, yes, youth unemployment rates are too high in Wales at 7.4%. But they're a damn sight better than they are in England after 14 years of Tory government, 11.3% there. So we are doing much better, and it's thanks to that guarantee that we have given to the people in Wales.
Question 2, Altaf Hussain.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. What discussion has the First Minister had with the UK government about the impact on the residents of South Wales West of potential spending cuts by the UK government?
I met with the Chancellor on the 21st of August, along with the then Cabinet Secretary for Finance. Now, we discussed the implications of the tight fiscal position and the pressures for key public services, and we'll continue to prioritise the public services that matter most to the people of Wales.
Thank you, First Minister. Congratulations on taking this new role, which is great. Sadly, nearly 1 in 6 older people live in poverty, and with Wales having proportionately more older people than the rest of the UK, the Chancellor's ideology-driven attack on the winter fuel allowance will be devastating for my constituents. We don't all have rich friends who will pay for our glasses or bedeck our wives in the latest co-chair. For many older people, they are faced with stark choice this winter, heating or eating. First Minister, if you cannot persuade UK government to reinstate the winter fuel allowance, what steps will your government take to ensure older people in Wales don't freeze this winter?
Well, thanks very much, Altaf. And this is certainly something that is causing some concern amongst older people in Wales. And I think it is important that we recognise that. This is certainly something that's come up time and again with me on the streets during my listening exercise over the summer. But what I can tell you is that the job of the government is to make sure that they're able to balance the books. And the fact is that the Conservatives left a £22 billion black hole. And that's not an insignificant amount. But what I can tell you is that already the Welsh Government is putting substantial support into protecting the most vulnerable. Just an example of that is we give £30 million to support people on our Warm Homes Nest project. So there's a huge amount of support. And the other thing, of course, is that those people who are eligible should apply, and we have worked with the UK government over the summer to make sure that people who are eligible, and there are many, many who are not currently accepting the pensioner credit, that they should be applying, which means that they would be eligible for that winter fuel support.
Sinead Williams.
Thank you, Llywydd.
Choices for balancing the books, as you phrase it. Around 82,000 pensioners in my region will lose out due to the UK government's plan to cut the winter fuel payment. Your own Cabinet Secretary for Social Justice said that the move by Labour ministers will push pensioners across Wales into deeper fuel poverty. An impact assessment hasn't even been carried out by the UK Labour government. Has your government carried out an assessment of how many of our elderly citizens will be impacted? How are you going to support them this winter? Because you will have to support them. They will be going into hospitals. How much is this decision by UK Labour going to cost the Welsh Government? Do you condemn the cut?
Well, what I do know is that the triple lock has also been assured, and that means that there's £900 additional funding this year for pensioners and £400 next year for pensioners. But I accept that there are people who are really frustrated by this situation. So what are we doing in Welsh Government? Because that is what I'm here to do, is to account for what we do in Welsh Government. We have provided, for example, £5.6 million funding to the Fuel Bank Foundation since June 2022 to support the delivery of a national fuel voucher and heat fund scheme. The Single Advice Fund has helped more than 280,000 people deal with over 1.1 million social welfare problems since January 2020. So we are putting the support in, but obviously there's a responsibility for the UK government and there's a responsibility for us.
Questions now from the party leaders. Leader of the Welsh Conservatives, Andrew Davis.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. First Minister, you highlighted how you'd met with the Chancellor back in August, and I hope in those conversations you directed the Chancellor to the genuine anger that is around this withdrawal of the winter fuel allowance here in Wales. Did you show your anger and your mantle and actually tell her that she had made the wrong policy decision and how this will affect 400,000 pensioners here in Wales and take £110 million worth of benefits away from some of the most vulnerable people in our society?
Well, I understand this is a really difficult and concerning time for a lot of pensioners in Wales, and people, as I say, have raised that concern with me during that summer of listening. But I think it is important to recognise that the UK government has had to make some really difficult decisions. If you look at Brexit, you just see the fact that the exports have collapsed from the United Kingdom. We had the Liz Truss government that pushed up interest rate payments. All of these things happened, and now we've got to clear up the mess that you left.
No apology, no contrition, and the figure I said to you was 400,000 Welsh pensioners will lose this assistance, this vital assistance that they require to keep themselves warm this winter. It is the wrong policy and the wrong choice. And your colleagues in Westminster have made that choice and withdrawn that benefit. But it is not too late. Will you write to the Chancellor, implore the Prime Minister to rescind this policy decision and put that money back into pensioners' pockets this winter so that they can keep themselves warm? Because your own party's figure in 2017 said that this policy decision of withdrawing the winter fuel allowance would see 4,000 premature pensioner deaths because of it.
Well, I'll account for the actions of my government, and Keir Starmer will have to account for the actions of his government. I'm not going to come here week in, week out to respond to questions that should appropriately be given to Keir Starmer. If you want to go and ask Keir Starmer, you should have gone into Westminster. Now, what I will do here is to make sure that people have understood that there actually are lots of ways that we are supporting people within Wales with their winter fuel, especially those who are most vulnerable. We've got the council tax reduction scheme. That's 250,000 households who are supported to pay no council tax at all. And that means that it frees them up to be able to spend that money on winter fuel. We know that that support that Welsh Government has given has helped £137 million worth of support gone into people's pockets in Wales. It's the Welsh Government making sure that people claim what is theirs. We've been working with the UK Government over the summer on that particular campaign. We've made our own campaign working with local government to make sure that those who are the most vulnerable get the support that they deserve.
First Minister, you made much play on your interview on Sunday of saying you were going to stand up for Wales when that needed to happen and speak up for people here in Wales. I have said to you that on your own party's figures, 4,000 people... I hear the member for Blaenau Gwent sighing at the comment about 4,000 premature deaths. This is your figures of 4,000 premature deaths. A withdrawal of £110 million worth of support and 400,000 pensioners facing a very bleak winter indeed. Would you agree with me, after 2 chances to stand up for Wales here on the floor of the Welsh Parliament, you have failed miserably in your first excursion out? And ultimately, it'll be the pensioners who will pay the price of that failure here in Wales, because your colleagues in Westminster have chosen a duff policy over making sure they keep pensioners warm here in Wales.
I tell you who's failed miserably. It's your government. It's your government that left the people of this country, the most vulnerable, in a dire situation because you crashed the economy. Liz Truss, somebody that you supported Liz Truss, and she pushed up interest rates. It means that we have a 22 billion pound hole.
Can I have some silence to hear the First Minister, please?
You left a 22 billion pound hole that we now have to fill. Where's your apology? Where's your apology? I tell you what, you want to hold me to account? You can hold me to account for what happens in this chamber. But the responsibility for fixing the mess that you left remains with Keir Starmer.
Leader of Plaid Cymru, Rhina Piorwer.
Thank you very much, Llywydd. It's a little over a month since we stood here congratulating our new First Minister on her appointment, and now, in the first opportunity to question her, what we find, or what we're trying to find out, is what exactly the new appointment means for Wales.
Predecessors, actually, over the past 6 months, we're told by the new First Minister, time and again, that having two Labour governments working in partnership should be to the benefit of Wales. It doesn't feel like it when it comes to the winter fuel payment. Both parties, of course, Labour and the Conservatives, are complicit on this, an idea put forward by a Conservative Prime Minister and eventually delivered by a Labour Prime Minister. Does the First Minister of the Welsh Government see that by endorsing, as she has done, the tough decision by Rachel Reeves, she is indeed endorsing the continuation of Conservative austerity?
Well, if the Leader of Plaid Cymru wanted to hold the UK government to account, maybe he should have stuck with his plan A and gone into Westminster. But what I can tell you is that because of the partnership we now have with the UK government, this summer we have been able to give inflation-busting pay awards to public servants across Wales, over 200,000 people benefiting from a pay allowance, which we were able to give, a pay award, because of the new Labour government in Westminster. And on top of that, as I'll be outlining later today, we are able to give a much better deal to the workers in Tata. So there's just two examples from really early days in this new partnership arrangement where we are directly delivering for the people of Wales.
I'm glad that the First Minister recognises my commitment to Wales in being here fighting for Wales in the Welsh Parliament. We know that she has her seat in the House of Lords as Baroness Morgan of Ely, of course. We hear Labour talking about tough decisions, don't we? I wonder if the First Minister cares to comment on the very tough decisions that pensioners in poverty have to make now in choosing between heating and eating. It's a pretty tough choice, is it not? What we see, sadly, and I feared this, is the unwillingness of Labour in Wales to actually stand up to its London masters and fight for Wales and for what's in the interests of the most vulnerable in society. Now, this isn't standing up for Wales from the First Minister. It's keeling over and putting party again before country. Now, I want to move on, if I can, to another issue. In 2007, another predecessor of hers, Carwyn Jones, promised Labour would scrap the Barnett formula. It could not be defended, he said. Why then, in her recent letter to me, was the First Minister still defending it? And why did Labour fail to keep its word?
Well, I think it is important that I account for what is my responsibility. And if every time something changes in Westminster, I'm expected to fill a hole, then we're not going to get very far here. So let's be absolutely clear. I will take responsibility for my actions here, my responsibilities. But if you want to question Keir Starmer, you should have gone to Westminster. Now, just in terms of the Barnett formula, it was a discussion that we've had already with the new Chancellor. I was able to do that over the summer, but also to talk to Keir Starmer about how we need support in the Welsh Government financially, and a review of the financial position, which was promised in the Welsh Manifesto. So that is a conversation that we are starting. We'll see how far we get, but I can assure you that already they are in listening mode. And, of course, we'll all have to wait until we see that budget, which will be coming up in the autumn.
I'm being criticised by the First Minister for demanding for Wales what Wales needs in terms of fair funding. It's the Labour Party that told us that everything would be rosy in the garden as soon as we had a Labour government at Westminster, and now we have. And we have seen the winter fuel payments cut for pensioners, many thousands of them living below the poverty line. Now, on winter fuel and fair funding, the First Minister's confirmed that Keir Starmer calls the shots. She now, of course, has a government of her own, not really new. She's even talked of bringing back a familiar face as an anchor to that government. The last First Minister but one, highly respected, of course, but highly surprised himself, I'm sure, to be back playing such a deeply influential role within this government. We'll see how influential the role is. Now, if the First Minister will forgive me for expanding a little on her chosen metaphor, if we take a government as a whole, an anchor, of course, is very good at keeping you still, is very good at holding you back, not so good at moving things forward. So today, I asked the First Minister to at least give us a clue about what she thinks her government is doing and where it's heading. We're on our third health minister in 6 weeks, a revolving door of Tory proportions. She told the BBC she has a strategy, but where is it? When will we see waiting lists in Wales begin to fall? Keir Starmer says the Tories broke the NHS in England and he's planning a reconstruction. Will she now finally accept that she and her Labour predecessors broke ours and that we need urgent reform, something Labour has shown time and time again it's unable to do?
Well, I think you were listening to a different campaign from me, because the campaign I heard from Labour was actually one that was very cautious about managing expectations because of the mess that we knew that the Tories were leaving us. So if you think that we promised rosy uplands in the future, that was a different campaign from the one I was hearing. But let me tell you what I will be offering. Let me tell you what I will be offering. Mark Draker, you're quite right. I'm really pleased and proud that he has accepted a role in government. He will be an anchor, but I tell you what, I'm the captain of the ship now. And what we'll be doing is we will be serving the public in Wales. I've been on a listening exercise over the summer, and I will be setting out later today the priorities, not our priorities, but the people's priorities, the thing that they want us to focus on. But you'll just have to be a little bit more patient before I set out what they are.
Kevin Campbell.
Thank you very much, Llywydd. What discussions has the First Minister had with UK government counterparts about how GB Energy will benefit Mid and West Wales?
During a visit to the wind farm in Carmarthenshire, I had very positive early discussions with the Prime Minister. Although GB Energy is at a much earlier stage than our own renewables company, we are exploring how partnership could deliver benefits for all regions of Wales.
Well, thank you very much, and I'm very pleased to hear that you came to Carmarthenshire to visit a wind farm in Brechfa with Keir Starmer, and there he said very confidently that GB Energy would bring vital benefits to Wales. Now, since that visit, I've been struggling a little to understand what exactly that means. I hope that you will be able to explain this afternoon. As far as I see it, GB Energy is undermining our ability as a nation to develop a renewable energy sector on a domestic basis that benefits our communities, including through the work that Ynni Cymru is doing. For me, GB Energy looks like a medium for once again using the natural resources of Wales for the benefit of the Crown Estate and ultimately the Treasury, and that the same pattern that we've seen over the years of coal, of steel, of slate and water being exploited for the benefit of Westminster, not for the benefit of communities in Wales. Now, it's only through devolving the Crown Estate that we can develop an energy system that is truly beneficial to our communities. And you as a government agree with us on that. So can you confirm, First Minister, that you have had discussions with Westminster about the devolution of the Crown Estate?
Thank you very much. Well, I was delighted that Keir Starmer came to Wales very early on once we'd invited him, and he was delighted to visit that wind farm in Carmarthenshire, because this is part of how we're going to grow the economy, a green economy in Wales. There's a huge amount of potential, but it's not something that can easily be delivered, and it's crucially important that we use every lever available to us, not just in Wales, but also using that additional leverage that comes from cooperating with the new government in Westminster. What I can say is that Trydan Gwyrdd Cymru is in the vanguard, and we have started this campaign already. There are wind farms that have already been erected in areas that are already bringing money back into the public purse. But Trydan Gwyrdd Cymru can only work terrestrially. I think there's an opportunity now for us to work with GB Energy to see how far we can go in collaboration when it comes to offshore developments too. So those discussions have commenced as a result of that visit by Sir Keir Starmer. They are very willing and eager to learn from what we've already done, but of course the funding that they will have available will be of great assistance to us, and they're very eager to help us.
George. I do think this is a good question on the order paper today, and I'm keen to understand how GB Energy would benefit Mid Wales. You'll be aware of the long history in Mid Wales of the concern of the over-proliferation of wind farm developments, but what is more of a concern is the industrialisation of landscapes through pylons running through valleys and hills across Mid Wales. So can I ask, Minister, given the fact that just before the summer there was a motion before this Senate that called for an update in planning policy Wales, so that the conveying of new infrastructure was absolute underground rather than just a preferred option of the Welsh Government. Can I ask, First Minister, that given the fact that GB Energy has a remit, as I understand, to coordinate transmission operators to launch